Bosco Campus Vision. I'm Sharon Stanley, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Don Bosco College, Kottayam. This lecture deals with the paper Creative Writing, Semester 6, Module 2, Short Story. Today, I discuss the short story The Water, written by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe is an internationally renowned novelist who has always looked at the major social and political shifts and viewpoints that confront contemporary Africans in their day to day lives. He is a Nigerian author and one of Africa's most celebrated writers. Chinua Achebe is a Nigerian novelist, poet, short story writer, and professor at Brown University. And critic has been considered to be the most influential African writer of his generation. His popularity rests on his first novel and magnum opus, Things Fall Apart, the most widely read book in modern African literature, which still enjoys pride of place in world literature and termed a classic. He is best known for his unique portrayal of the widespread social, political, and cultural effects that Western values have had on traditional African society. In this short story, The Water, the writer brings out evils of our election system and makes a poignant satire on human weakness for power and money. It has depicted the theme of corruption, loyalty, guilt, power, greed, and tradition. It is taken from his short story collection, Girls at War and Other Stories. The story is narrated in the third person by an unnamed narrator. The writer begins the story by telling us about Roof, a young man who enjoyed immense popularity in the village Umofia. The villager respected and trusted him much for his sincerity and innocence. He could have made fortune by staying in the town. He was capable enough to shape his career and live prosperous, decent life. But he buried his dreams voluntarily in order to serve his people. This was a big sacrifice. Social service was his priority. Roof's popularity was because it was the village's measure of gratitude to an energetic young man who, unlike most of his fellows, nowadays had not abandoned the village in order to seek work and any work in the towns. The leader, Marcus, is always in search of such a person who can act as a link between himself and waters. Roof tried to convince the villagers that Marcus was a set for Umofia because once he becomes a minister, there will be a transformation in the village. There will be no problems of water, roads, electricity, hospitals, schools, etc. as such. This powerful leader would prove to be an angel for them. But the past experience forbade the voters to be sympathetic to him, but offered to a few shillings to each voter worked a miracle. They insisted on getting more from his agent, and after some hesitation, this request was granted. The only qualification Marcus possessed was that he was financially sound. Election was a business, and this temporary investment was sure to fetch him handsome dividend. The story takes a different and unexpected turn when Marcus fights an election as a candidate of People's Alliance Party. He began his career as a mission school teacher and was forced to resign following sexual scandal. He joined politics and within no time rose to be the minister. He minted money and secured his future. He was sure to win this time as well. But his rival candidate Maduga from Progressive Organization Party was not going to let him win uncontested. He may get a few votes, but it will be a first step in his long battle. Later, we see a leader of the People's Organization Party campaign team approached Roof asking him to vote for Maduga, an opposition candidate. Roof would get £5 if he accepted the proposal. Here we see Roof, the buyer of votes, turns into the seller of his precious and pious vote. He witnessed a great mental conflict. Before casting his vote, he tears the ballot paper in two pieces and put one half in each box. It is very difficult to justify his behavior. He may get consolation that he has done no injustice to either Marcus or Maduka, but it was a futile exercise. It is indeed a pity that instead of feeling shameful about his greed for money, he justifies his lapse. The story ends with moral degradation of Roof. We no more have any respect for this young man, whom idealism dragged from town to a small village. Of Marcus's robber who has amassed wealth by exploiting poor villagers, Roof is not far behind in this mad race. Being in charge of election campaign, he takes all the chances to fill his pocket. Here, the writer Chinua Achebe exposes both the candidate and the voter. The candidate spends huge amount to woo his voters, and voters in turn try to extract from him as much as possible. The writer states that the obvious radical change are needed to make elections transparent. My dear students, I hope you understand this lecture. Please write the summary of the short story, The Water, as your assignment. Thank you.